Hi everyone, Julie is here. I'm glad to see in my channel your Solution. And the theme of today's video will be Star Fortresses of Ireland, part number 2. So let's begin. Well, it's time to get acquainted with the video of the Fortress of the Stars that are located in Ireland. I probably didn't into account everything because, as we understand, some of these fortresses erased into dust and overgrown with greenery a long time ago. And for those who suddenly missed, I recommend to look my first part. So I remind you my 3 gradations.
Left in its original form and acting as a center for attracting tourists. Erased to dust and already overgrown with plants or reformatted into city life. Restored partially or completely, reconstructed but repeated buildings on the already created foundation of the Fortress of Stars.
The video review will only feature Elizabeth Fort, Magazine Fort, and Westmoreland Fort as a bad example of video quality without 3D design in the program Google Earth Pro. So let's consider several variations of their purpose. And if you have any interesting information on this subject, then I'm waiting you in the comments. So why were they designed? There are theory. One cares of fortification, meaning that is, in simple terms, a defensive function.
A number of historians and experts believe that the star is an ideal fortification, and it's convenient to fire at the enemy from the beams protruding forward, preventing him from reaching the distance necessary to shoot at the center. Each beam is a redoute, an integral part of a single line of redoutes. In the Russian tradition, by the way, it was to call the redoutes the name of the most revered saints, and the fortresses themselves were often also named in honor of the saints. The walls of such a defensive structure were quite low, on average 3-4 meters, but very thick. The sharp corner shape of the redoutes was given a double purpose. Firstly, so that cannonballs and bombs would ricochet and fall into the inner corner between redoubts. At the same time, their speed fell. It was extinguished by the first blow casually on the wall of the redoubt. By the 18th century, the cannons had already gained sufficient power to disassemble any fortifications of early eras without interference. There are also objections. The height of both the ramps themselves and the walls on them is often so small that, in principle, is not an obstacle, and we recall another point that we have already touched upon regarding the landscape. Some of the fortresses are located extremely unsuccessfully in terms of the terrain. For example, in the lowlands, which indirectly indicate that the place of construction was chosen according to other criteria.
The main argument is who during the hostilities will thinking about clear geometry, drawing, especially at that time, and if you believe the sources, there were not the same drones, to be sure, marking lines and other things, especially on the scale. By the way, subscribe to my channel, mark the bell in order not to miss new release, and push the button if you like this video. The second most common one says that star fortresses are the remnant of the former civilization that thus received electricity for everyday needs.
That's why they were built everywhere, and their sizes are different, depending on the population, energy needs in one or another terrain, race, or just designed to concentrate energy. Today we have no idea how the system worked, but in field of electronics, experts really find some analogies with the shape of star fortresses. In addition, in this regard, it makes sense to recall the various wonderful properties of their geometric objects. For example, pyramids, a longer shelf life of products, self-sharpening blades, and other interesting features confirmed by real experiments. That is, certain geometric shapes and proportions can really affect the properties of objects or the space inside them.
The third version, the emergence of the star fortress, is even more fantastic, but it also has its own arguments.
Perhaps stellar fortresses arise by themselves under the influence of certain processes inside our planet. Indeed, they are surprisingly similar to crystals or snowflakes, about which no one will object that, they say, nature cannot create such a thing, and only then cities and military fortifications appear in their place. Some researchers pointed out that, according to their observations, new stellar forms continue to arise even now in different parts of the Earth, where they have not been seen before and where no active activity is taking place, including construction activity.
And which theory is closer to you? Write in the comments. And by the way, did you yourself find anything interesting while researching Google Earth Pro? Well, I saved so much, but you got a lot of stuff to talk about. See you in next thematic video.